middle school, I had a teacher who told me over and over again, read my child, read my child. And I tried to read everything that I had.
Recently, we learned of the passing of Congressman John Lewis. In 2017, I was selected to be on the American Library Association's Coretta Scott King Book Award jury. The Coretta Scott King Award honors African American authors and illustrators who have made a significant contribution to children's and teen literature. In 2017, the jury selected March Book 3 by Congressman John Lewis, Andrew Aiden, and illustrated by Nate Powell. Today we're going to spend some time talking about the 3 books in this graphic novel series, and I'll be joined by my colleague, Young Adult Associate Ray Ford.
In book 1, what John Lewis does is we learn about him growing up in Pike County, Alabama. And as he's growing up, he almost describes these life lessons that he learns, that he takes with him, and they kind of fuel his passion for this justice movement that he's getting ready to embark upon. So the book, we learn about him, and then we get to essentially the lunch counter sit-ins in Nashville. And what's beautiful about the book is that they actually take us as the reader and they put us sitting next to at the lunch counter. So we actually get to kind of experience what they experienced, all of the milkshakes and insults and the slurs and everything that's thrown at them. We kind of experience that with the way that the book is sort of illustrated. And then we have these long panels that you can see all of the action as it's going on, and you kind of feel they pull us right into the action. So, and after they do their lunch counter sit-ins, they move us to book 2. And in book 2, we meet the Freedom Riders. So they take this message and they want to go to the South. I mean, they want to go deep South. So we're in Nashville when the lunch counter sit-ins happen, and then they take us into the deep South, the Bible Belt. And it's rough down there. It's nothing like Nashville, because on these rides, they hurl almost fire bombs at them. They set buses on fire. They experience this physical abuse at the hands of the authorities. And as they're experiencing this, Martin Luther King, takes notice. And that's kind of when the SNCC sort of becomes the foot soldiers of the movement, the civil rights movement. And it just kind of rolls over, and then we end up in book 3, where we get to the March on Washington. In book 3, it gets dark. He covers a lot of the violent happenings, starting with the 16th Street Baptist Church, the bombing of the church where the 4 little girls were killed while they were in the bathroom. And the first thing you notice about this book is, number 1, it's the longest of the 3. And the pages are literally dark. So it kind of symbolizes what you're experiencing as you're reading the book. The books are written and drawn in black and white. So when you have a lot of darkness on the pages, it's kind of symbolizing and triggering to you in your mind that, okay, this is bad, something wrong is happening. So we start at the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, and we move all the way to the inauguration and the presidency of President Barack Obama. Now, in between that, we revisit the Edmund Pettus Bridge March towards Selma. We revisit the killings of Schwerner, Cheney, and Goodman. We revisit all of these violent acts. And told from like a first-person perspective, because he was present for a lot of these events. Which, imagine walking around all of these years and having all of that in your mind, in your conscious, and you're still in present day doing this good work. So one of his famous sayings is get into good trouble. And I personally, I try to live by that creed if I can, when possible. But book 3 sort of lets us know how bad it was, and the consistency of violence and injustice that Black folks experienced. What we want you to do is we want you to read all 3, and we need you to read them in order. Book 3 kind of gets out of sequence because it revisits a lot of the stories that were told in books 1 and 2. But you want to read these in order, and we encourage you to read them all yesterday.
I had the great honor of meeting Congressman John Lewis at the American Library Association's Coretta Scott King Book Awards in 2017. Congressman Lewis spoke about the importance of participating in the Black Lives Matter movement. He spoke about the importance of voting. He also spoke about the importance of standing up and speaking out for what is right. We encourage you to learn more about Congressman John Lewis through the many movies, books, and resources available at the Euclid Public Library. If you are unable to visit the library, we encourage you to go online and check out the resources through Hoopla, Canopy, or Overdrive today.
Read. You know, you may not have the resources to travel, but by reading, by going to the library, you can travel all over America. You can travel all over the world. And people must have the design to get out there, to push and pull, and to never give up, to never get lost in a sea of despair, but to keep the faith.